Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome to this program. I'm sharing my native language to the English-speaking world, and I don't have perfect pronunciation or vocabulary, but for the last part, it serves the function. And I have been at this, interface of thinking, speaking, using both languages at the same time. So it's interesting to see, to reflect back on my native language, which I was taught as a child, but without awareness of how the original form of the language looks like, because I learned simplified Chinese and how things are making meaning. So I'm going to make a special edition in the middle of it of the 12 core associative values, because these were printed or painted on the wall in Britain. So this became news in early August. And I think this is a good opportunity first to look at what these values are. They are all made of 2 Chinese characters to create, use this ancient language to get concepts from the past and then piece it together to try to translate these mostly Western values imported to socialist core values. Okay, so yesterday we talked about the 自由, and today we are going to talk about 平等. Okay, 平等. 平 came from breathing, from speaking actually, speaking evenly. So you can view here, okay, the frame of Chinese characters. We know it's like a squarish box word, right? But the way it was visualized is kind of like a computer game. Because computer game is a depiction of 2D world on 3D world onto a 2D frame, right? So in a similar fashion, Chinese characters were created to represent something from the physical world, the 3D world that we are living in, onto this 2D frame. So one is projecting that. The bottom of the frame is corresponding to closer to us. Okay, because in 2D world, we have the height, the width, but we don't have depth, right? To express depth, it's kind of flipping the depth up. So further away means upper frame, and closer to us means lower frame. So here, this kind of a curvy thing, kind of a curve, is a breath of air from bottom of the frame going upward. So that means from us, from our first person point of view, this breath of air going out further away. So it's a breathing out. So while people are breathing, it's not simply breathing, because you see these 2 horizontal lines, that's the blockage before the air can go out to the world, right? So we're producing the air from our pipe, our windpipe, and then from our lungs, right? Going through the mouth and then goes out. So these 2 horizontal lines that serves as the sound making organs, our lips, tongues, teeth, all that adjustment of the chamber, of the sound making chamber. So that talks about this one pipe of breath of air coming out and meeting this blockage of pronunciation, and then have turned into 2 stream of air. So when we have 2, it not necessarily mean just counting visually 2. It's an abstraction of the air spreading out evenly. So one focused stream of, you can imagine a jet of air, right? When you're pronouncing, when you're speaking, the language show you the right way, or the promotive way is to distribute your air out evenly, so there was no jarring sound. And that speaking evenly was, valued as the proper way of communication, because not only the content, the format of communication is also matters, right? So people like to listen to your voice or the way you're speaking. That helps with the message crossing, right? So that's 平 came from evenly speaking. Okay, 等 came from this bookkeeping, actually. So ancient times, the Chinese knowledge information was stored on bamboo strips, bind together, and they can be rolled up into a book. So it's different from the, I mean, that's before the print press and the paper invention. So ancient, even more ancient times, it's just bamboo strips, keeping knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Knowledge about plant. So this middle symbol is the ground level and a plant growing on top of the ground. So for Chinese agrarian society, referring to things a lot of times, it's kind of like a variable in language. We, in a coding language, right, we define X equal to something, right? And when we want to bring up X again, we don't need to say that whole length of definition of whatever that is, however you define it. No need to repeat that again. We just use X to represent it. And this X in Chinese symbol equal to that, pronounced as zhi, it's a referral. Use the plant symbol to refer to whatever content that X you're putting into. So whenever you bring up again, like in the context within the dialogue, I guess, and then people know what you're referring to. You don't need to say the whole thing again. So that serves that function as zhi, as talking about this, but it came from plant growing on the ground. And that's the most visually commonly seen and people care about things, which is about planting and farming, right? And at the bottom is a 3-finger hand symbol, looks like this, right? And with one horizontal line pointing to 1 inch down the wrist. And actually the whole thing pronounced as cun, it means inch. That's a Chinese inch, of course. And Chinese inch for Chinese doctors to diagnose people by pulse reading, put their fingers, I believe it's kind of like this, pulse read, simply by reading your pulse, doctors can already tell a lot about how your body functions at the moment internally, right? Your bloodstream, right? Your pulse, heartbeat, all that. So this exactly land your finger on 1 inch down is the trade secret or the industry standard. So all doctors need to do that. So that practice of pulse reading 1 inch below the wrist then became the symbol for ru, because that's the standard you have to follow. There's like, everybody knows that, there's no argument about that. That's like the golden standard you have to follow. So that becomes ru. So plant ru, we can read it as farming practice. Like the golden rule for farming. This was stored on the bamboo strip books. So that bookkeeping about farming knowledge, the ancient information storage, then became the symbol of equal, because to store such information efficiently, like spatially efficiently, all the bamboo strips have to be like a equal length, right? You can imagine that if there are some longer and shorter, it will be jarring. It will be very difficult to store such. You can imagine a whole room contained of, it's an ancient library looking thing, right? So whole room contains such bamboo strips. So of course, everything has to be standardized. All the strips have to be even so that it can be stored easily. So this bamboo strips book then become the equal, because that again, that ancient information storage system at least was used and seen by many people back then. So that was easily understood by people that you need this equal length of bamboo strips. So that equality, that's how equality was made in Chinese. So basically breathing evenly, spread your air. So spread your air evenly, kind of like a distribution, right? And this evenly, this bamboo strip, then equal. So distribute equally, something like that. That's the Chinese equality. So when I was search for equality, this picture pull up. So I guess this representing the Western understanding of what equality means, basically a scale measuring two sides of things. and you have to keep it even, right? So even. And then this sword, I view it as enforce it, because just by people's own, if we leave it to individuals' device, very likely things are not going to be equal, because whoever got upper hand or more information or more muscle power simply are going to take the bigger piece, right? So equality is about a system that can be enforceable, so that no matter whatever conditions it comes in, like the two parties are going to be treated equally. That's 平等. Okay, cashing into the currency of thinking by one word a day. We're so busy on that today.